So, before I start, before we go into the satsang, I would chant something. You don't have to by heart it. Can you hear me, Hans? You're doing this, so I thought, I got worried. So, I will chant something which is very ancient from the Vedas, which is usually chanted before starting a satsang or a interaction. It means, and then we start the rest. Many people from India, I'm sure, may have heard it many times, but what happens in India with us, that we hear but we don't know what's being said. Because few people, nowadays it's a disqualification to know Sanskrit in India. So anyway, so the mantra is Om. Om, of course, is added to all the mantras, most of the mantras. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvina vaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now this is the mantra. Now what does it mean? So for that, since it's today we are going to have 1 hour or maybe 1.5 hours or 1 hour. So this is like an introduction, and tomorrow we actually start batting. So I'm sure many of you here have already met me, have come for the retreats. There may be many who haven't, new people, but I think we'll get to know each other soon. Do I look frightening? No. So that's fine. So the mantra. Now, I said it's chanted before the satsang. So what is a satsang? A satsang, this is a satsang. Satsang is divided into 2 syllables, sat and sangha. Now sat means the truth. When you say the truth, it means from our point of view, sat is that which is real as opposed to what we think is real. Now, if you say what is real? Oh, this flower is real. Yeah, it is, of course, maybe. And this leaf is real. We say that always. But we are saying, this flower, how many days does it last? After that, is it there anymore? Except in our minds, it's gone. So when you say sat, it means we are supposing, at the moment supposing, before you have the experience, that there is something which is real in the sense that it's not something that comes and goes. Not something that is here today and gone tomorrow. Something which is there with everything coming and going, still is. That's like a Tamil song. It's not stopping. Okay. Aisha, sorry. So, what was I saying? Satsang. So, here we are dealing with something, sat, which means the truth. Why truth? Because it's something that always is, as opposed to things which are now and gone tomorrow. And most things are like that, unfortunately. We can't do anything about it. M is here today, after some years, gone. Even the greatest, Jesus, was there. He is no more now. I mean, maybe in our minds, but not the physical. Everything goes. So the question they ask, that does not move away, and it is always there, permanent, not temporary. That is Sat. Okay, suppose it is so, but we don't see anything like that in this world. So the inquiry is, if there is something like that, all the hundreds of rishis who said that they couldn't all be lying, and they couldn't all be foolish, so there may be something. Let's start this way. There may be some Sat, some reality, which is not temporary, which is always there. Things come and things go, and it's always there. Let's suppose it's there. Now, the other word Sangha means coming together, a group of people. Even if it's not too many groups of people, it could also mean two people. You and I can form a Sangha. You don't need 100 people to form a Sangha. You and I. Alone I can't be a Sangha. But it means there is already two, you and I. Right? Doesn't matter you're in Finland and I'm in India. It makes no difference. You and I sitting together, trying to figure out what is this Sat. Even if I know, suppose, I will come down to your level and we are together going on this journey of discovery. So when you and I look at a problem together, here the problem is, what is Sat? Is there Sat? Is there a reality? Then it's a Satsanga. If you and I are not in it together, it's not a Satsang. It's not a dialogue. Then it becomes an argument. You say it is, I say no. I say it is, you say no. Then it's an argument. When it's a dialogue, then we are equally important. Doesn't matter if I know or I don't know. How do you know I know? You don't know. So it doesn't matter really. What matters is, can we sit together and look at this problem? Like two good friends sitting in the garden on a bench and saying, let's sort this problem out. So this is a Satsanga. So therefore I said this mantra is chanted before the beginning of a Satsang. And it's a serious affair, it's a serious business. It's if you are distracted, you can't do it. You need to have full attention, right? Yes. So, the mantra, first sentence says, Sahana Bhavatu. May you and I, which means both of us, be protected. Now, do you need to be protected to inquire? Do you need security guards? What it means is, protection in the sense, for ordinary sense of the term, physical protection. Suppose I sit outside now when it is raining, is it possible to have a satsang? No. So may I be physically protected from the elements of nature, from the vagaries of nature, so that I can sit down and think about it seriously. But the key word to note is the word saha, which means you and I. Not that only I need to be protected, you also have to be protected. We have to both be protected. Physically on one side, also mentally on the other side. How to protect mentally? Mental protection simply means that I am not distracted by outward disturbances. See, now we are sitting in this room. There's no noise. It's nowadays become very hard, even in India, to sit in a place like this, with all the cars and buses going close by. But here now we are sitting in a quiet place. Unless you go to the Himalayas and don't get caught by a drug addict, then it's quiet, of course. Here it's quiet, beautiful. So now you're protected from nature, from outside. You're protected here with your mind because there's no distraction. And also to keep the body healthy, so that's the next one. So the next sentence is Sahanao Bhunaktu. What happened? Got a cold? So Sahanao Bhunaktu. Now Sahanao Bhunaktu means may both of us be nourished. Nourished. That's also important. Physical nourishment and mental nourishment. Both. Now when you say physical nourishment, now why did we have this dinner before we started the satsang? Because our minds are not wondering when does the food come. So settle that first. Nourish your body. The other thing is, we are going into a serious, important, serious subject, and you need all the energy required to put into it. You can't do it if you are fasted for 6 days. I assure you. Unless you are a yogi or something like that. So, you need nourishment. So, now the key word again is saha. Sahanao bhunaktu, which means may you and I be nourished. It's not as if the Guru sits quietly and eats a full stomach and the disciples starve. Well, I'm not your Guru, I'm just saying this. So, this nourishment is important physically. Now, what is mental nourishment? Mental nourishment means to get the right inputs. To nourish yourself with the right inputs. There may be wrong inputs sometimes. This is mental nourishment, where you hear right things, you read good things, you hear people talk about it, and then go into this problem of nourishment. So when your physical body is nourished and your mind is nourished too, so first protected, then nourished. I think both has happened here at the moment. I don't know so much about the mental nourishment, but slowly go into this. Then Sahaviryam Karavavahai, which means may our vitality increase. Now don't think that the yogi who's going to meditate is actually taking away all his vitality and becoming helpless. No. Yogi needs full vitality to examine this serious problem of what is the truth. So you need energy. You can't waste all your energy and at the end of everything say, now I have retired, let me think of the Sat. There is no fuel. Fuel has all been burnt out. That's why in ancient India, okay, the student went to the teacher holding fuel in his hand. It's not as if he went with a burning firewood in his hand. It means he had enough fuel, he was young, energy was still here, and he was going to use it for a good purpose. So, Viryam, vitality. May our vitality increase. Yours and mine. Mine and yours. Now, Tejasvinavati tamastu. Just as the vitality of the physical body, may the vitality of my mind also increase so that I shine forth as Tejas, light. Now, don't expect to meditate for 1 week and a light appearing from the forehead. Hard work. Don't have illusions. Okay. So, Sahaviryam, Tejasvinavati tamastu. Last sentence, Ma vidvishavahai. May we, you and I, not quarrel with each other. Which means we are in a dialogue and not in an argument. So let's not fight with each other. Because if you're confrontational, I'm not saying you are, then nothing can be understood. Because an argument is when I think I know. Okay? You think you know. Clash. But suppose I and you say, okay, we don't know. It's so difficult to say I don't know. Very difficult. Ask, I know. You can't start an inquiry if you start with saying I know. Most people listen to a talk not most, some listen to a talk or listen to a satsang, already their brains are tuned and, in some way, and they come and say, this man, he's saying the same thing which I heard, or he's saying a different thing from what I heard. So there is no attention. Half your mind is there and half your mind is here. You're trying to judge, so you can't find out. So you cannot start unless you say, I don't know. Let me figure out. At least for the time being, may I suspend my knowledge of what I think I know. Say, okay, let's listen carefully. So when this happens, then it means ma vidvishavai. Then we are cooperating and working with each other. This is the mantra. So for the next 1.5 days that we are here, I'm going to discuss this inquiry onto the truth, to the Sat. And I'm sure many people would have read my autobiography, and some of them would be thinking about Kriya Yoga and so on. But let me tell you, now we will come to Kriya Yoga later. So this is the inquiry. Now, what I said just now, we need to examine it very carefully. There is an innate desire in all human beings, in fact in all living beings, more so in human beings. Human beings is more complicated. In the animals it's very small, it's simple. And they are hungry, they want food. No animal is thinking of building an institution. No animal is, I'm not saying it's good, but it's a fact. No animal is thinking of a peace walk. We just want peace to sleep somewhere, eat and sleep. No animal is wishing for a storeroom where he can keep food for many days in fridge, refrigerator. No. He's hungry, he eats. When he is not hungry, he doesn't kill. The tiger kills when it is hungry. We kill for fun. Great deal of difference. Till a few years ago, people enjoyed hunting. I'm sure they do even now. Where there is no food, it's just the joy of killing something. What about the wars that we've had? It's not for hunger. So, we all, I'm including myself, you and me, there is an innate desire to expand, to become bigger, to become better, to complete ourselves, because we look inside and feel we are empty and we want to fill it. So what do? Our whole life is this. I'm neither saying you shouldn't or should, I'm just looking at it as facts. Entire life. Otherwise, the entire life of this world will come to a grinding halt because nobody will do anything. Why are people working? Because they're not satisfied with what they have. They look and there is nothing, so I should improve myself. So if I make more money, maybe I will be happy. I think so. I don't think so. I'm just saying. If I make more money, maybe I'll be happy. There are the unmarried people, bachelors, who go around thinking, perhaps if I get married, I will be happy. Well, they should ask a married man. So, or the other way around. What I'm trying to say, that there is always this desire to do something, become something, so that I'm complete, I'm happy. That's the whole life, right? Yogis give up everything and go to the Himalayas. For what? So that actually they are more ambitious than others. They are not so much interested in the little trinkets, they want the big treasure. I also ran away to them. So this desire to expand, in fact the ultimate reality in Sanskrit is called the Brahman, Supreme Brahman. And Brahman comes from the Sanskrit root bru, which means to expand. which is constant expansion. I think I'm poor, I have to become rich. I think I don't have some qualities, I need to develop it so that others respect me. I think I'm empty, so I have to fill myself. Fulfillment. What is the meaning of fulfillment? It means filling to the full. Okay. So there is this innate desire to find what?
Happiness.
To become complete, which means what? To become happy. To be always. Somebody told me the other day, I would prefer to have sorrow also, because then I won't know what happiness is. Because if there's only constant happiness, I don't know what it is like. I mean, then with sorrow I know what is happiness. But what we are talking about is not something which is like an old thing called happiness, which you experience and store it somewhere in your memory. It's something that happens every minute. It's never stale. It's always fresh. It's every minute, and it's not only inside, it is also outside. When you see a beautiful flower, suddenly there is that sat, that reality there. The world is, don't think the world is illusion and all this rubbish. It is real as long as you are real. When you understand, perhaps it is so. Not before that. If the world is unreal, then we won't have to eat. Right? It's not a question of real and unreal, it's a question of permanent or impermanent. That's the distinction. So, that fulfillment, that happiness that we seek, and which unfortunately we don't find. Yeah, I think if I do this, then I'll be happy. I have a girlfriend, not so good now. I find a new one, I'll be happy. Then another one, and then I'm miserable. I know it's not working. So, I'm just giving you an example. I don't have many girlfriends. So, I'm a little careful. So, and then the other. I have a little money. If I have more money, then I will be happy. Never happens. I have more money, then I want more money. And the more money I want, the tax man is at my door. Or somebody wants to steal it. Perhaps there is something which nobody can steal. Perhaps, maybe 1,000 years ago, a wandering yogi who didn't have a home. Nowadays, if you say homeless, it's a bad word. But here was somebody who said, these snakes have holes and the foxes have dens, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. There was somebody like that. Not in India, in Jerusalem. He walked the streets of Jerusalem having no place to stay. I'm not talking about the church, please. I'm talking about an individual. And he said something very interesting among other things. Lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. Very nicely said. Lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. Perhaps we are looking for that, thinking that outwardly we might get it, but never succeeding until we are laid to rest. You know what, we don't know if it's really rest, we are dead. And then you write R.I.P., rest in peace. Last, we are asking, can we have that peace now? Why there? In the graveyard. In fact, my master Babaji used to say that R.I.P. actually means rise if possible. Not rest in peace. Nobody has accepted the challenge. So, this is what it is. So this is what we are looking for. Then, in Sanskrit, in the ancient scriptures, there's another word. I'm sorry if I'm painting a bleak picture of life. Actually, life is wonderful if only we are a little less self-centered. We'll come to that. So, we have 1.5 days tomorrow. So, The other word used for the Brahman, for the supreme reality, for the Sat, for which we are sitting here as a Sangha to figure out, is Purna. Many of you know Sanskrit. Purna. Purna means what? Completeness. Fulfillment, total. Complete. Nothing is left, everything is complete. Which in this world we cannot attain. 100% we can't. So perhaps there is something which is the reality, which is the Sat, and which is called the complete. And it is perhaps the built-in desire in the mind to reach that complete, that it is searching for all these things for completeness. If I'm alone, I think if I marry, I will be complete. If I'm married, I think if I step out, I would be complete. Both ways it works. I think we look for that complete. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything. It's an intrinsic built-in desire of the mind to become complete. Unfortunately, there is no way you can find that completeness outside. That's the problem. So where will you find it? Now that is now the good news. In Chennai, very close to where I live in the city, there's a Christian mission called the Good News. So the good news is, I'm not a Christian preacher, the good news is that this Purna or completeness and this reality which never fades, this happiness which when once found can be seen in the smallest of creatures on earth, in the moving of the grass in the breeze, in the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun, and sometimes in nothing, in utter darkness, in the full moon that suddenly rises without your knowledge. You can't control it. And in a beautiful face, or a little child who may have no food, may be in tatters, suddenly breaks into a smile. All this get reflected in your mind when you touch that. And the good news is, it's not far to seek. It's here. In you. If it is in me, it has to be in you. It can't be that I'm some exclusive creature coming from a planet somewhere who has this inside. If it's in me, it's in you. And if I found it, you can find it. Can't be so complicated. It's not. Look, I was a terrible fellow, I found it. What about you? Many of you are better than me. Good. Good people, so you'll find it. That's the good news, that this completeness that we seek, Purna, that happiness that we seek, which doesn't go away, no matter what the circumstances are outside. You can't change the circumstances, you can change to some extent, but you can't fully. Is right here in the depths of your heart. Please don't think I'm talking about the heart that pumps blood. In the core of your consciousness, in silence, in tranquility, when the mind is not distracted by this or that, when it is not building castles in the air, when it is not dreaming, day and night both, daydreaming and night dreaming, when it is settled down, then that treasure can be found within. And if you find it within, the corollary to this is that you will see that it's there everywhere. So you cannot disrespect somebody. It's here, it's also there. It can't be that only I carry it. And therefore, those who have touched it, the yogis who have touched it, said, we are all one. Nowhere in the world has the system of economic equality worked. You know that. In my youth, I read a lot of Karl Marx. It's an economic theory, all right, greatly researched. And in the state where I come from, it's the only state in India where there is a communist government, elected, of course. So I've gone through all that. And look at the world around. Nowhere has it happened that everybody is equal. Because we are all born unequal in some way, different. When I say unequal, I mean different. You can't make them the same, it's impossible. And yet we say that it is possible that we are all the same. How? Because, as I said before, if that spark of the Sat, of the reality, a part of the Supreme Reality, which is complete and which is full of bliss and happiness, irrespective of outward circumstances, if it is there in my heart, and if it is there in your heart, we are equal that way. You may not know it. When you know it, you suddenly say, hey, no big deal, I am the same like this guy. That's the good news. Now, I want to illustrate this with a story, a small little story. I'm never tired of repeating this story, because I know some of you heard it before, so much this guy is going to again tell us the story about the deer. So, in the Himalayas, in the upper Himalayas, there's a kind of deer, D-E-E-R, deer, which is called a musk deer. Musk, M-U-S-K. In India, it's called kasturi. Musk is used in perfumes, in all these incense and whatever. This deer, this is not my story, I didn't invent it. There was a great weaver saint in India. You know what's a weaver? One who weaves cloths. Handloom weaver, one who used to weave cloths for. And he was a man who worked for his living and yet was a great saint. He didn't collect money to build his ashram. He lived by the sweat of his brow. He wove cloth in Banaras. And his name was Kabir Das. Kabir Das has sung many songs. One of them is about the musk deer. He said, that even now there are these musk deers, but they have reduced because of human greed. They're all used for perfumes. So I advise people, if you find musk in a perfume, don't use it, because one deer is killed. Now this musk deer has a little pouch somewhere under its belly button. And in some season, at some point, musk is produced. Not all the time, but sometimes, in some seasons. Basically, it's produced to attract the female, the scent. We don't have kasturi, so we shh. So, when it happens, when this musk is produced, there's this beautiful fragrance in the air, wafting in the air. And the problem is the poor deer, D-E-A-R, doesn't realize where the source of this fragrance is from. Where does it come from? Thinks it's somewhere outside. So he goes into the forest, puts his snout into thorny bushes, hurts himself, bleeds, thinking he's searching for the source of the fragrance, while it's under its belly button. Kabir said, this is the problem with us human beings. He said us, he didn't say you, he said us human beings, that there is this lovely musk, fragrant inside us in the heart, which manifests itself when the mind is calm and quiet and without ripples. And it happens under any circumstance, no matter what the external circumstances are, profit or loss, joy or sorrow, it's there. And when you have discovered that, then you have found your treasure, which nobody can steal from us. And we carry it all the time with us. Looking for outside. It's just a little bit of logic. When you enjoy something, suppose, are you enjoying it there or here? Maybe the object which you sought has kind of stimulated it. Yeah, I can understand. But that enjoyment is not in the object, but in me. So what if I find the fountainhead, the source from where it comes? Now, I don't think you think this hedonistic to look for happiness. It's built in. We all seek it. However much we say we don't want, we still want it. People give up everything and walk off from home. In the Buddhist literature, it's called going forth, leaving everything and walking away. Why? To find something which is tranquil, peaceful, happy, all the time. So, this is what we are going to discuss in the satsang today, tomorrow, day after. Now, I will leave this here at the moment and talk about something which is this to be discovered spontaneously? Is there a technique to find it? If it has to be discovered spontaneously, we don't know when it's going to happen. Perhaps it will not. But is there a way towards it? Is there a practical? Because if there is no practical, well, one of my very good friends said, there is no path to truth. I understand what he meant. I agree with that to some extent. But he also went through certain things and experiences in life before he found it. And we also have with us the ancient science of yoga. When I say yoga, please, not just standing on your head or doing all the asanas. Nowadays it's so popular. In Hollywood it's so popular. Everybody wants an hourglass figure. So everybody is doing yogasanas. But yogasana is not the entire yoga. So yoga is considered to be the way or the path. I'm not talking about just physical yoga. I'm sure I'm clear about this. I hope you're clear about this. Yoga is a science, is a method, step-by-step movement towards understanding the inner self, which is actually a spark of the universal self in which we attain our completeness. Knowing which we attain completeness. Understand that we are complete, not incomplete. So yoga is the method. Why I'm saying this is because I'm sure many of you, some of you might have thought we will learn Kriya Yoga here and so on. Somebody asked me today when I was having tea, are you going to teach Kriya Yoga here? And let me tell you, Kriya Yoga is not the only way to find the truth. The first thing that is required is that I am sincere and earnest and say whatever be the difficulties, I am going to find it. This is important. And then you may do Kriya Yoga, you may do some other yoga, it doesn't matter. In fact, in the science of yoga, there are many Kriyas. Many. So when I say Kriya Yoga, I am talking about a particular tradition of Kriya. There are other Kriyas, of course, which has come down to me from a certain tradition. This is what I mean by Kriya Yoga. So it's not as if you won't reach that if you don't practice my Kriya Yoga. You understand what I'm trying to say? Since I have nothing to sell, I don't have to advertise. Kriya simply means, in fact, one of the oldest textbooks on yoga is called the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Several people have called it Ashtanga Yoga and so on, because it has 8 limbs, 8 branches. But Patanjali, the author, not in a single sentence in the Yoga Sutras has called it Ashtanga Yoga. He calls it, here begins the teaching of Kriya Yoga. If you have Yoga Sutras, I can show you. It says Kriya Yoga, which means what? Step-by-step way to penetrate into the mind and make it quiet calm and like a pond, like a lake without a ripple. You know, if you have a small pond and if there are ripples, try looking at your face in that. It looks very disfigured because of the waves. When it's still, you look, this is what I am. So, yoga is the practice, step by step, of how to make the mind spotlessly clear, without a wave, that in that reflection, in that quietness, in that tranquility, one sees oneself actually as one is. Not as what we see in the mirror now in the bathroom, but as it is. So, this is yoga, and Kriya Yoga involves practicing a technique step by step. But please don't think that those who don't practice the Kriya Yoga cannot attain this truth. That's not true. Let me make it clear. There have been people who have studied nothing, and you woke up one day and looked at the moon and said, I got it. However, it's not then systematic. It can be erratic. And people might think the guy's gone mad. So, if you need to go step by step, then it's good to take up the practice of yoga. And Kriya Yoga is just one of those techniques. There are many other techniques in yoga. So, why I said this is because, are there anybody here who want to take Kriya Yoga? We need to adjust a time for that. I think all hands are going to go. Did we do Kriya Yoga last time at the retreat?
Yes.
Yes? But you already got it. This gentleman comes everywhere in all retreats. I think he's a global citizen. You're in Rishikesh and he's there smiling. You come to Interlaken, he's there. I didn't see you in UK this time.
No.
So, if you need to do a little bit of Kriya Yoga to begin the practice, I would like to do that tomorrow afternoon in the evening session. It will also serve as a review for those who already have taken it from me. You can all attend so that you don't miss. It will be also a review. And also because if you are there, then if I teach something wrong, you can correct me. You say, no, last year you didn't say this. So maybe I might be saying things for the good people who are there now, so you can learn more. So the idea is to find that essence, which is our true essence, which is peaceful, blissful and tranquil at all times, no matter what the circumstance. In fact, the teachers of yoga say that to develop this tranquility, you should train yourself to be at peace under all circumstances. We'll go into that tomorrow. That's also part of yoga, not just sitting down and that's also the important part of yama, niyama. Then comes asana, prana. Otherwise you just sit down, you think that one can reach the truth simply by blowing through the nose. This is not possible. Other things are there. So, and if you take Kriya, suppose you want to practice Kriya, keep this in mind, the background which we discussed till now, why we are doing it, where are we going, which we already discussed. And then you say, okay, let me find out if there is a systematic, step-by-step way to move towards it. And then you take up the practice of Kriya. Now one thing is clear, it comes through practice. Don't think that in 2 days I will get there. You need to practice. This man sitting in front of you at one time was asked to practice for 10 hours a day. There are only 12 hours in a day, 10 hours a day. For 6 weeks, till he thought that he was going crazy totally. And then he said, come down, slow down. What I'm trying, not that you should do for 10 hours a day. If you can only promise to do half an hour every day, not a big deal, half an hour every day, then you take Kriya, otherwise don't take it. No use. Waste of time, waste of money coming all the way. So, if you take it, you should do at least once a day, preferably in the morning. Preferably. All that we can discuss in detail. And every day. Once. Somebody said, I can do twice. First do once. Twice will disappear in 2 days, and then there will be nothing left. Once a day, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, you need to practice. There are a few other rules and regulations, not a big deal. We can discuss that tomorrow, because we still have some time. Now, there's a choice. We have 10 minutes more for this session. Either we can have a 10-minute question-answer session now, or do you want to wait till tomorrow's class? Because sometimes the things you're going to ask might be explained tomorrow. It's up to you. If you have any basic questions, we can discuss it. If you're not, then I can explain to you some of the rules and regulations required for Kriya. What do you want to do? Don't get worried about the rules. You don't have to become a monk or a nun, for that matter, for the practice of Kriya. Let me tell you, it's because I can save time tomorrow. There are 4 rules to be followed for Kriya. One thing, of course, is that you practice daily. Okay, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that you don't start teaching people immediately after taking Kriya. You know what I mean? Set up shop. Oh, where did you learn Kriya from? Sri M. So it must be authentic. So how much? $3,000. So, nowadays there are more gurus than disciples, unfortunately. So this is why I'm saying don't set up shop. Practice first and find out for yourself. Then we'll see what happens afterwards. Apparently a young man went to a guru in India. You can find at every corner. So he went and he told the guru, "Sir, I want to become your disciple." Guru said, "Okay." So he said, "And what am I supposed to do to become a disciple?" He said, "First you have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning." This is in India, okay? 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, 4 o'clock in the... okay. Then go have a dip in the Ganga, in the river. He said, at 4 o'clock? He said, yes. Okay. Then bring some water in a bucket and clean up my kutir, my hut. He said, all right. Then go wash your face, brush your teeth, come back, do your yoga asanas, postures for about 1 hour. 1 hour? He said, yeah, 1 hour. Then do pranayam. Okay. So this man is wondering when is breakfast here coming. So okay. He said, all right. He said, oh, I have to attain the truth. So okay. Then he said, then we have a 1 hour to 2 hours of satsang. You have to learn the Upanishads and the Gita and so on and so forth. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Hatha Pradipika, hundreds of things to learn. Okay. He said, all right. It's still neither breakfast is coming, nor lunch is. And then he said that in the noon there is a break when you have to cook food for you and me. He said, oh. He said, sir, just 1 minute. What do I have to do to become a guru? Can you tell me? He said, to become a guru? He said, you just have to sit down and bless people. Then why don't you make me a guru? I don't think I can be a disciple ever. Unfortunately, if you cannot be a disciple, you cannot be a guru. So, what I'm trying to say is, don't start teaching. I mean, you teach anything you want except Kriya. Otherwise, you can teach pranayam, yogas are fine. But don't teach Kriya because you yourself don't know what you're doing. And before you have any experience, you just cannot open shop. I mean, you can if you like, but if something happens, don't ask me for help. I have already so many things to do. So, that's the 2. Point 1, practice every day at least once. Point 2, don't start teaching. And then 3, now this is, you might think it's a tall order, but so I'm saying try your best. You can't do it 100%, try your best. What is that? Try to stick to the truth as much as possible. That's why I said it's a tall order. It's not so easy nowadays to stick to the truth. So if you feel that you have to utter an untruth, at least keep quiet, don't say anything. And try your best. Sometimes you might tell a lie, but then say, okay, I regret, I won't do it again, and carry on with it. Don't say, I'm going to practice meditation only after I have become fully truthful. It will never happen. But try your best. It's important to be truthful for the simple reason that you are searching for the ultimate truth. How can you lie 24 hours a day and look for the ultimate truth? Is this possible? It's not even logical. Unless you are a lawyer. So, I hope there is nobody here. So, try your best to stick to the truth. So we have done 3 points. And the last one is a little difficult but not impossible. Which is, try as much as possible. I'm saying much as possible, okay? Try as much as possible not to injure other living beings. But then don't start saying, oh, even vegetables have life, so if I cut it. Be practical. Be practical. Try as much as possible to live without causing injury to other living. When I say injury to other living beings, please include human beings also. There are people who would kill you because you killed a cow, but you are so important. Who looks after cows? Human beings or cows? So who is important? So, what I mean to say is, make sure that you, as far as possible, don't cause injury to others. Now, there is a corollary here. When I say injury, it need not necessarily mean physical injury. Sometimes mental hurts are worse than physical. You can slap a person, it might be forgotten. But if the person thinks he's very important and you say you're a fool, that hurts. So watch out. Try to be not so judgmental. You know what I mean? Try not to be judgmental. We may have the same faults as the other guy. We don't know. We have to look. And we can't discover it because we will never discover it. Somebody else can point out to us. And the other thing is, welcome criticism. And don't encourage flattery too much. Because, if you keep flattering somebody, if you keep flattering me, I can't find out where I'm wrong, because I might think I'm okay. So, this is very important to know. Not only physical injury or important, mental injury. In fact, things can be sorted out peacefully. You don't have to get aggressive about it. And anyway, aggression is not going to help. We know that. It's very clear. So why don't we calm down? These are the only 4 principles required. Very simple. And everyday practice of Kriya. Moderate food, moderate sleep, moderate entertainment. Nobody said don't get entertainment. Moderate. Sleep, yes, you should sleep, but don't sleep all the time. Yes, you should eat, but don't keep eating. So you know what I mean. Strike a balance, and that's all you need to do. So then we are ready for tomorrow. So do you have any suggestion of what I should start with tomorrow? I know what subject I'm going to deal with, but do you have any suggestion as to what I should start with tomorrow? The practical aspect or more into the understanding, a little more what we're talking about?
More understanding.
Yeah? You say the same things.
It should be nice to meditate in the morning.
Meditate in the morning?
Yeah.
Sure. What time?
7.
You know, I am accustomed to meditate at 4:35 in the morning, but when you say 7, no. What time does the breakfast start here? Anybody? Breakfast?
7 is the meditation time, 7 to 7:30.
There is.
Yes.
You have included it in the Very good. So we do that. No, I'm not talking about that. I mean after breakfast, when we are full and sleepy.
We start at 9 after breakfast. And then
But 7 to 7:30 there is meditation. Very good. So everybody comes here, huh? 7 is the most enjoyable thing because I'm not going to talk. So and then after that we have from what I was asking is when we start at 9 o'clock, do you want to go more deep into the understanding before we go into the practicals? That's what What? Yeah, I think we should have a little more of this theory and then get into practicals, and that's it. So I hope you'll enjoy 1.5 days left. Yeah?
Can at some stage for 5-10 minutes Isha was sing.
I'm not going to be influenced by you on on what Upanishad to be taken up.
No.
But no, I know. But let me see, you know how I teach? First of all, I don't prepare. In fact, no, I know. I don't prepare. Second, I speak spontaneously depending on the feel I get. So I don't know what it will be tomorrow. So we'll decide after that. If I decide now, then
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
no. I understand what you said, but the thing is that actually everybody knows this. People who have known me for some time, who are close to me, I don't prepare. I think preparation is a terrible thing, because then you go with like ideas and you can't say anything more than that. But if your slate is clean, of course you would have studied it before, but your slate is clean, your mind is clean, your heart is clean, then it happens. What you have to say comes by itself. In fact, in many places people are a little worried about me because 3 months before I'm notified what is the subject of the talk and I forget completely. And just when I'm getting out of the car, hey, what's today's subject? You see, God, this idiot, God knows what he's going to blabber now. He doesn't know. But then everything is okay. Everything is okay. Because I must confess that the first time I had to talk on a very important Upanishad, which is a philosophical section of the Vedas, 3 days till the day when I talked on that same Upanishad, which he mentioned. Do you know what I was reading? Because I wanted my mind to be clear of all Upanishads. Asterix. Honestly, I confess. Because you laugh and your mind is clear and everything, and then the Ishavasya comes by itself. Many children fail in the exams because they're so tense, occupied. Anyway, so we'll do that tomorrow. Huh? 3 minutes past 9, according to my watch. And it's not an Indian watch. Swiss. I always think it's exact. I don't know. Okay, so thank you very much. Shall Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace. Okay.